Enterprise software is relocating, not upgrading, relocating. The foundation of where work happens is moving, and most organizations are still acting like this is a feature update. I've watched 3 technology waves hit the enterprise. This one is not like the others. What's happening now isn't evolution, it's replacement. In early 2026, the S&P 500 software index lost roughly $1 trillion in a week. This wasn't a correction, it was a repricing. Investors woke up and realized that legacy software, the kind most enterprises still run on, faces a structural threat it can't patch its way out of. The market doesn't move like that on rumors. It moves when the math stops working. The panic came from a simple realization. 25 years of seat-licensed software is ending. The value that lived in those dashboards, those per user per month subscriptions, is migrating to a new layer. The old applications aren't disappearing. They're just becoming storage. The work is happening somewhere else now. Most companies are still renewing licenses for software that's becoming infrastructure. The whole migration fundamentally changes how we measure value. We're moving from pricing by the seat to pricing by the token. For decades, a seat was just a proxy for human time, but tokens shift the center of gravity entirely. The growth ceiling disappears because the unit of value is now metered directly by the work performed and the outcomes generated. If an AI assistant does 3 days of human work in 5 minutes, the tokens consumed are an absolute bargain. The math isn't even close. Now let's zoom out to the 30,000-foot view. What's happening to the application layer itself? Here's the pattern nobody sees yet. 1985. Everyone chased Intel's chips. The real money accumulated quietly in the platform above. Windows. Today, same mistake. Everyone's mesmerized by model benchmarks while missing where the durable value pools, the agentic operating system layer. Models are substrate, replaceable, commoditized substrate. The platform that orchestrates them, that's the franchise. We're watching the same film twice and most people still haven't recognized the plot. Here's what that shift actually looks like. The old web browser was a filing cabinet. You asked for a document, you got a document. The new interface is a production line. You describe an outcome, draft the report, debug the code, and it manufactures the thing while you wait. You're not retrieving anymore. You're commissioning. That's not an upgrade. That's a different economic model entirely. So here's what the old guard is doing. They're terrified, and it shows. Salesforce wants to become substrate, open up the data, expose the APIs, let external agents do the work. Fine. SAP is taking the opposite path. Build a perimeter, absorb the agents, trap everyone inside a governed fortress. Both strategies assume they still control the high ground. Neither addresses the actual problem, that the work is relocating, and the platform layer they're defending isn't where value lives anymore. One's surrendering the castle, the other's reinforcing walls around an empty courtyard. The old enterprise was a library, fixed artifacts, reports and dashboards produced once, consumed identically by everyone. The new one is a factory floor. Every interaction generates something bespoke. An answer, a document, a decision, customized to whoever asked, then it vanishes. The artifact era is over. The interaction is the product now. Most organizations are still cataloging books while the world moved to just-in-time manufacturing. Here's the problem. Interactions have no memory, which means the old library can't actually shut down. It has to stay open, maintained, trusted. It becomes the system of record. The institution you thought was dying just relocated to the back office, quietly providing the validated truth these agents need so they don't hallucinate into uselessness. The old world didn't disappear. It became infrastructure. Most executives are still planning the retirement party. So what happens when you decompose every corporate job into tasks and hand those tasks to agents? You get a network? Fine. But a network of agents is not an institution. Without a governing layer to schedule work, contain failure, and hold memory, you don't have a fast modern company. You have a chaotic pile of parts that occasionally catches fire. For a century, middle management was the operating system. They allocated budgets, enforced permissions, routed tasks, contained failures. Now that layer's flattening, which means companies have to build the machine equivalent, a control plane that governs agent work the way hierarchy used to govern humans. Most organizations haven't realized they're running production without an OS. To keep this from catching fire, you need 4 non-negotiable components. First, strict agent identity. Know exactly which machine is acting. Second, narrow permissions. Give agents the absolute minimum access required. Third, a resource scheduler. Throttle compute budgets so nothing spirals out of control. And fourth, an unbreakable audit trail, permanent record of who did what and on whose authority. This isn't bureaucracy. It's the difference between a system and a pile of parts that occasionally explodes. MIG, the governance paradox in agentic enterprises. Most companies get this exactly backward. They want to build the flashy AI capabilities first and bolt governance on later, like a brake pedal. But governance isn't a constraint you add at the end. It's the foundation. It's the architectural base layer that makes an agentic enterprise possible in the first place. Without it, you don't have a system. You have an expensive liability waiting to metastasize. The companies treating governance like optional plumbing are the ones who will spend 2027 explaining what went wrong. So where does the human go when machines run the operating system? They don't vanish, they relocate to the edges. At the front, humans author intent, set the purpose, define refusals, establish what the system will never do. At the back, humans hold accountability. A machine can't get sued. It can't stand trial. Authority must always terminate in a person with a name and a liability. The middle empties, the edges sharpen. Between intent and accountability sits the messy middle. Humans handling exceptions. This machine will constantly generate weird edge cases and judgment calls it wasn't built for. That's not a bug. That's highly skilled, strictly human work. Handling what the system can't anticipate isn't leftover labor. It's the new premium skill. Most organizations think exceptions are noise. They're the product, the control plane. Question every enterprise must answer. Here's the question you need to answer right now. When the operating system of your institution is being decided, are you a participant or a tenant? As you migrate to this AI native era, will you build and own your control plane, or just rent a prepackaged perimeter from a vendor and become a tenant in your own company? The window to decide is open. It won't stay that way. By the time most people figure this out, it'll be too late. Follow for more.